up, fantasy people? This is Tyler, Big Turd Ward, and Banjo, the dog, coming at you live from my garage. And this is the Fantasy Footballin' Show. Today's episode, Week 14, Thursday Night Player Pause. So, Oakland Raiders visiting the Los Angeles Rams. I'm going to put them down. Should be a terrible game because, the Rams look like they're going to be starting Baker Mayfield. So, Baker Mayfield could not cut it on two different terrible teams, and now he's coming to LA. So, when he was sitting like last year, last season after the Browns, he pretty much demanded a trade from the Browns. He was on some couch with a dog he was not petting. And dude, it's so crazy to think that if you would have told me that he was going to be the Week 14 starting quarterback for the Los Angeles Rams, I would have bet $1 million against that. And that would have been a good bet. So, crazy game coming up. First off, if I could just ask for you to, thumbs up, thumbs down it, leave a comment, that'd be amazing. Thank you so much. And then, I've got my piece of paper out. What the heck am I doing? So, first off, I want to talk about the weather. Dome stadium, so the weather is not going to be a factor. And then as far as like key injuries, there's one huge one for the Rams, Aaron Donald. He just got announced out yesterday. And now the Raiders are going to be without three key defensive starters. The defensive tackle, Andrew Billings, offensive, outside linebacker, Jayon Brown, and this guy's awesome. Cornerback, Rock Yassin. My firstborn child is going to be Rock Yassin Ward, man. I'm telling you. And then, even with, the Raiders hurting on defense, I don't think it's going to make much of a difference because, the Rams offensive line has been terrible since game one. Their quarterback play has been terrible pretty much all year. And we're starting Cam Akers now, dude. So we're getting to the point where we're just starting Jags, just another guys on this, the Super Bowl champions from last year. So this is a huge turnaround of events for the Rams and not in the good way. So the three quarterbacks that could start are Bryce Perkins, John Wolford, and Baker Mayfield. So Wolford is questionable. He got his foot stepped on versus Seattle last week. Perkins, he got the start versus Kansas City. He threw 100 yards and a touchdown with 2 interceptions. So that's terrible. But he also ran 9 for 44. But he still ended up with less than 10 fantasy points. So he ran 9 for 44. That's pretty successful. And he threw a touchdown, and he still got less than 10 points. So, dude, you're not starting. That's Wolford, you're not starting. Perkins, you're not starting. Baker Mayfield signed this week and was given the playbook before the plane ride to LA to help him get ready for the start Thursday. So they want Baker Mayfield to start. Yeah, dude. So Baker Mayfield is not a good quarterback. It's been proven time and time again that the backup is actually PJ Walker was the best quarterback on that team. Jacoby Brissett is still probably the best quarterback on that team. Dude, so it is terrible. You are pausing on all the quarterbacks for the Rams tonight. And then here we go, dude. Talk about the running backs. You and I are not starting Cam Akers, but they are starting Cam Akers. He is averaging 13 carries a game over the last 3 weeks. He had two touchdowns versus the 31st ranked Seattle defense last week, but he only had 60 yards versus that terrible defense. So Cam Akers is like the least efficient runner out of the last, 30 years or something like that. Him and Trent Richardson. So not good. And then Baker Mayfield does not like to throw to his running backs, and Cam Akers has 1 catch since week 2. So they're giving him all this play, right? Dude, he's got 1 catch. It's crazy. Since week 2. I think he had 2 catches in week 2. And then Oakland allowed just 22 carries for 72 yards with no TDs versus the Chargers last week. So Oakland is 27th best versus the run. So it's a sweet matchup. But they actually have been playing a little bit better. It helps that Kenneth Skywalker went out last week, and they just, I don't think they had to go against Homer and whatever. So I don't think that's a very good gauge. But dude, Cam Akers is on that level. So that kind of is a good gauge. So yeah, we're pausing on Cam Akers. If you're in a 16-man league, you have to start him because I mean, he's a starting running back in the NFL, dude. So, and he's probably going to get 13 touches, 13, maybe 14 touches against a vulnerable defense, especially with people missing. So 10-man league, pause, 12-man league, pause, anything over that, play. Kyren Williams. I was all about Kyren Williams for a long time, and 3 touches last week for Seattle. This offense cannot support 2 running backs. So you are pausing on Kyren Williams because, I mean, that's it, dude. They're giving everything to Cam Akers. We do not see that changing. It's kind of been the same for Kyren Williams for like the last 3 weeks. We thought it was going to grow. It is not. So you fade on Kyren. I mean, this bench is not stable. You fade on Kyren Williams. Van Jefferson. He's averaging about 5 targets a game since coming back from injury a long time ago. He has 2 TDs in the last 4 games, but with those in the so anyways, in like the last like month, he still hasn't broke the 10-point barrier. So went 2 for 39 versus the 20th ranked Seattle defense last week. And Las Vegas is, 19th versus wide receivers this year, fantasy wide receivers. So it's a decent matchup, but dude, like, we don't know who's starting. Van Jefferson, DJ Moore did so much better without Baker Mayfield. And dude, that he had like a preseason kind of. So yeah, this is very boring today, right? But hey, we got to cover everything. People own these players, or maybe are thinking about starting these players sometimes. So you were pausing on Van Jefferson, Las Vegas, yeah. So and then next up, Tutu Atwell. He actually led the Rams in targets last week, and I've heard about him a lot. Oh my god. Sorry, my dogs are throwing bones versus poles. I don't know. This is crazy. All right, guys. Led the Rams in targets last week for Seattle with 5 and caught a 62-yard bomb versus the Saints 2 weeks ago. We had like 18 points in our league because we have that big play bonus. So I think the Tutu Atwell is more of the puncher's chance. Like Van Jefferson is usually doing the streaks, like the Deshaun Jackson stuff. I think Tutu Atwell is kind of overtaking that because there's nobody else to do anything else. And Van Jefferson is like the most experienced wide receiver. So he's got to cover all the other things. So I think if you are going to start somebody, it's probably Tutu Atwell. And that's just for the home run play, dude, against, they have got, Rock Ya-Sin is out, but so only one player of the secondary is out, but still, that might be the play, but we are pausing on Tutu Atwell. We're going to rely on him, especially if you need to get to the playoffs. Now is probably not the time. And then, dude, Mr. Old Reliable here, Tyler Higbee, he was like, tight end 2 for like forever, tight end 3. So targets the last month, 8, 0 versus Kansas City. And then he just went 2, or then he had 5 targets that turned into 2 for 14 versus the 31st ranked Seattle defense last week. So, dude, if Matthew Stafford's not there, we're not starting Tyler Higbee, okay? So Las Vegas ranks 27th versus fantasy tight ends this season. And thinking about Baker Mayfield, hey, dude, guess what? Njoku could not do anything with Baker Mayfield there. He flourished when he left. So Baker Mayfield doesn't really support running backs, throwing to running backs, and doesn't really support tight ends either. I don't know who he supports, like the second wide receiver or something like that. So yeah, pause on Tyler Higbee. Rams defense. So right off the bat, what I tell you guys, Aaron Donald is out. And Las Vegas is the 5th hardest for opposing fantasy defenses this year. So Las Vegas has been scoring points. They just give up a lot of points in terrible situations too. So they can't score when they need to, and they give up points when they shouldn't. But hey, they are not allowing a lot of fantasy defenses to score well against them, and they're missing Aaron Donald, and it's the Rams defense anyway. So you're pausing the Rams defense. And then Matt Gay, dude, Matt Gay just scored 14 points versus Seattle last week. He's averaging 9 fantasy points a game over the last 3. I think there was a 5-point game in there. If Baker Mayfield starts, I do think that you can play Matt Gay, because I think Baker Mayfield is the best play out of these 3 quarterbacks, which is insane. So you can see him maybe moving the ball some against this terrible, against this not good a defense. I would start Matt Gay because, I mean, dude, I'd start number 1 ranked kickers and they get me 3 points. So what's the point, dude? You might as well just start somebody on Thursday so you can watch the game with a little bit of edge, Anyways, that is it. So we have all pauses except for the kicker, and he's a gay play for me. Hey, he is the gay play of the day is the Rams kicker. And that you can take that to the bank. So anyways, thank you so much for watching. And you should, next time you see me, I will have a tall can in my hand, and you should too, or you don't have to. I understand. They make tall cans of like iced tea as well. So if you want to drink with us on Friday, you should. And I will see you then. Thank you so much. If I can maybe stop this recording, I will. Later.